Alhamdulillah wa salatu wa salam ala rasulillah ma ba'd. Ibn Taymiyyah rahimahullah is giving advice for a person who wants to get married. Now this is actually something that he has said. As you can see in the Arabic, you can see the translation, you can see the reference, Jami' Masail. This is a book, which is a collection of different things that he has authored and said. So this is something that he has actually said, and this is his advice. Now, before we look at what he is saying here, rahimahullah, and the advice is actually very important, we have to understand where he is coming from. What he is basically saying is that you shouldn't just get married to anyone. Getting married has to go through a process of filterization. You have to reference this person. If the person is a good person, then you get married to them. If the person is a bad person, then you excuse yourself. Now, with what he is saying here, we also learn how we can define what is a good person and what is a bad person. He is saying here, and this is what the ulama have said as well, a good person, a practicing person, a person who has taqwa, a person who is, establishing their religion, whatever you want to call it. But a good person is a person, number one, they fulfill their wajibat, and number two, they've got no clear and obvious major sins. This, if you see this in a person, that person is a good person, is a practicing person, is a person of iman, a person of taqwa. If the person, number one, is fulfilling the wajibat with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, so this person is a person who is not lazy when it comes to worship. This person is a person who fulfills all the wajibat, the salah, the siyam, the zakat, everything which is obligatory upon this person. When it comes to the rights of Allah, the person fulfills it. We will say, we can check that off now. The second part of what is obligatory, the person in their transactions and in their interactions with the creation, they fulfill the wajibat in the home, with the friends, in the workplace. We will now know that this person is actually a good person. But this is not enough. Even this is not enough. The person is free from clear and obvious major sins. So you could have a person who prays, but they've got major sins. We'll say, you know what, you should be cautious of this person. Now we get to what Ibn Taymiyyah rahimahullah said. If a man comes to know that a woman he intends to marry neglects her salat, and it applies to the opposite gender as well. So a woman wants to get married and she finds out that the man doesn't fulfill all of the wajibat, intentionally does not pray, then they should realize that marrying this person is worse than marrying a person who is involved in zina and theft and taking the rights of people and khamr and intoxications. Why? Because when it comes to fulfilling the wajibat, there are levels, and when it comes to staying away from what is haram, there are levels. Kufr is worse than major sins. So if you've got a person who fulfills what is wajib, but they've also got major sins, this person is better than a person who has kufr and no major sins. I find that far-fetched, but because kufr, if the person's upon kufr, then they're going to have major sins as well, aren't they? But let's just say that that's the case. You've got a person, they've prayed it 5 times a day, etc., but they've also got some weaknesses when it comes to certain major sins, and these are obvious in this person. This person is better than that one. Now, we're not saying that you should get married to any one of these people. We're just saying here that obedience and disobedience is of levels, and this is what he is saying here, Ibn Taymiyyah rahimahullah. So he is saying here, be cautious and filter and make sure that you go through your due diligence before you go about committing yourself to any kind of relation. This could be when it comes to marriage, but it could also be with friendship and business partnerships, etc. Now, here, I just want to highlight one last thing. And I know it's already been 4 minutes, but I don't want to make this lengthier than it needs. But this point is very important. The ulama have said, book knowledge is different to knowledge which is taken from the ulama. It's important that we read, it's important that we take from the teachings and the writings of the ulama, but this needs to be studied with the ulama or the students of knowledge. And you will find many sources of evidence from the kitab and the sunnah, from the statements of the salaf, where they have said, don't approach books by yourself. You can't do that. Unless if you know what you're doing, unless if you read it and you can understand, you shouldn't be doing that. Now, the reason why I'm saying that is, look, a person could read this from Ibn Taymiyyah and they can just say that I'm never going to get married to anyone who doesn't even pray even one salah. and then they can make things harder for themselves in the way that they've understood it. Yes, what Ibn Taymiyyah rahimahullah is saying here is true. Yes, you shouldn't get married to a person who is not praying. Yes, you should avoid those people who are involved in major sins. Yes, you need to make sure that the person is fulfilling the wajibat. However, in individual cases, the advice from the alim or the student of knowledge might be different. And it's important that we pay attention to that. And there are many examples that we can give of what I've just said, but again, I don't want to make it lengthy, but this is just something that I wanted to allude to. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that He has mercy on the Shaykh and He makes us of those who have the best understanding of the religion. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that He gives us the best of spouses and companions in the dunya and the return of the best kind to the akhirah. Allahu a'lam wa sallallahu ala Muhammad.